Today on Switch to Linux, we will look at Google bringing Age Attestation globally to Android. How wonderful how they will capitulate to the world of data harvesting. And this is not as bad as it could be, but this is just the step, the first step down a long, slippery slope that will eventually lead to the de-anonymization of everything on your device. Thanks for checking out this video by Switch to Linux. Subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so. Leave us a like and a comment down below. And we are going to be talking about Google, just released on the Android developers blog, as of the day I'm recording this, that they are delivering a safer and age-appropriate experience on Google Play. Yes, folks, this is Age Attestation coming to Android. Now, this rollout is fairly benign in this current form, but let's go ahead and bring you back up to speed on this whole debate, because there are a few things. There are age verification and there is age attestation. Age verification is the worst of the two. This is where some independent third party has to, excuse me, papers, please. Okay, I see your ID. Okay, you are safe to download the weather app, sir. It's age verification. That's what Texas is trying to do. Now, California is an age attestation. What that means is that parent buys Johnny a new smartphone. Why Johnny needs a smartphone is, well, okay. Anyway, the parent sets up Johnny's smartphone because the parent wants to be a good parent and says Johnny is a 10-year-old, which also shouldn't have a phone. But anyway, I digress. Johnny is 10 years old, and so now any app in that phone can request that age and go, oh, this is a 10-year-old. It has to have an app appropriate. But what's noticeably different here is it's not a third-party resource that's verifying. It is a parent setting up the device with an attestation. I am taking these things. This is the better approach because I can choose not to use it. I can choose to say, yeah, I'm 195 and I hail from the planet Quasar, you know? But verification requires that external source and it requires that external proof. This, what Google is doing, is attestation. It is set up. And it is not set up necessarily on everything. It is set up on a phone involved in the Google family plans. But let's go ahead and look at this, and then we will talk about why this is a slippery slope. So they want to say providing a safe online experience, protecting users from harm is a top priority for Google Play. So protecting users from harm. I think sometimes they might take it a little bit too far. Let me kind of decide what's harmful. Yeah, scan for your little pieces of malware, even though a lot of it gets through. But please stop telling me that places like F-Droid that does audit everything is bad, please. But they say they take responsibility serious. And of course, with all of these laws coming down the pipeline in various places, they were kind of forced to do this. In fact, what's interesting here is building on currently available in Brazil. So this is what happened. Of course, Brazil required, and I didn't follow Brazil's law enough to remember, was Brazil an verification or an attestation? But Brazil basically said app developers need to have information. So a lot of stores, in order to keep functioning in Brazil, had to have something in base. And so Google says, hey, here it is. Well, now that we have it, let's just go ahead and roll it out to the rest of the world just to preeminently do this, right? And that is the danger side here. That's one part of the slippery slope, is that one nation passes this and they're like, well, we got to stay there and the code's already here. It's too difficult to maintain multiple versions. So let's just deploy this everywhere. And that is a problem. So they're rolling this out in Brazil, of course, and then it's going to go out to Australia and Canada by mid-August. Australia makes a lot of sense. I don't know the state of it in UK. Canada, however, just jumped in with some of their first laws regarding these types of things. Still in debate, of course, and I haven't looked at them in detail other than knowing that they showed up in passing. So they want to do a full global rollout later this year. Dude, the year is almost over. You're telling me by the end of 2026, age attestation will be involved on every phone. That's what they're saying. So they want to empower developers to create age-appropriate experiences. You know, the good developers don't need age-appropriate experiences. The bad developers don't care what your rules and laws are. Just saying, you know what I mean? Like, make the guns illegal. It's already illegal in the context that they are used against people. Okay. So the Age Play Signals API is what this is. It is a privacy preserving tool that puts the parents in the driver's seat, allowing them to share their child's age range. So this is like the California attestation bill, not the Texas age verification bill. So the parent then, when setting this up, decides to put the child's age in, and they could set up the phone for their child and say their child is 18, and they can be bad parents or their child is doing Lord knows what on their phone. But for those that do care, and this is kind of important, you see, it's a little aside here, a little parenthetical here. I'm actually doing something weird. I'm reading some of my own books, right? And I'm reading right now my book, I Am Not Amused. And I just finished the chapter where I talked about where where the ratings came from. You realize that the ratings came because government pressure was coming down, and the company said, if we regulate ourselves, the government won't regulate us. And that's how we got movie ratings, which started with the production code, and then it went into the Hays Code, and then that was abolished because Hugh Hefner liked voluptuity, and then you had the assembling of a number of different state systems, and then that became encumbering, and so a national board brought up, which is effectively now the MPAA or MPPA or whatever it is, Motion Pictures of America, so whatever that is, that sets the ratings. Well, they did all of this just to curtail censorship. And then shortly after that one, then the music ones fell with Frank Zappa battling with Tipper Gore over things. But all of these things were about not what you can't have, it's that what you empower a parent to do. And that's why attestation is better than verification, because it places the sole responsibility in the hands of the parents to figure out precisely what to do. And you can look up that book. It is called I Am Not Amused. You can look up anywhere you can buy books online. With this over here, though, we want to give developers the ability to choose the right protections for the nature of their app. A weather app should not need the same safety settings as an entertainment or media app. Of course, they're referencing here. Did you guys know also in research in that book, in the year 2000, all televisions produced after the year 2000 actually has to have a chip in there that will block certain ratings on television programs. Now, I'm not sure if that applies to the streaming stuff. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. But while televisions were out there, that was one of the things that was pushed in changing some of the airwaves, is to pass a signal of the rating. And you could go into those old TVs and turn off M-rated TV shows or whatever the adult rating was. So you could actually block those, which is a good approach, because for the parent that actually wants to be a parent, it gives them the power to choose how to parent their kids. And this is why the California bill is so much better than the Texas bill that just says everybody must prove who they are to some third party. To download that weather app, I got to know exactly how old you are. I need to see your ID, please. Papers, please. It's like, I want to see the weather. I'm not drinking a beer. Come on. You know? That's what they're getting at. So rather than enforcing a one-size-fits-all, we give developers the flexibility to choose how they integrate the safety signals. Of course, this is written in a fluffy way, like, oh, we've just given all power. This is Google trying to say, yeah, this is so wonderful and fluffy, but the reality is no, it's just Google pushing more stuff on people. Now, of course, at some point in time, based on state laws, a developer might be forced to pay attention to this system. But we'll get into that one in a bit here. So with a reliable signal, you retain complete agency to tailor your app's content and features and settings. And so when you download something here, so here's Fabulous Streaming is requesting your age range. So your age range 16 to 17. So you have the option here to share the age range or to not. Now, here's a second part of the slippery slope. There's a couple slippery slopes here. The second part of the slippery slope is if you choose not to share your age range, is this app just going to assume you're a child now and only give you access to the E-rated things on this apparently fabulous streaming app, right? And so this is a fundamental problem that if you happen to want to take full advantage of the thing, you have to share your age range. Otherwise, they put you in the little one because many of these state laws are coming out. And if you're allowed to show the little kid, the big kid content, well, you could find yourself in a lot of trouble. And so this will become a slippery slope for developers to go, I don't want to get in trouble. I'm going to use the lowest possible level unless I get a signal that says that they're the certain age. Now, again, this ties into the family plan accounts as of right now. So this all starts with there. I have not seen that the Play Store will be asking you your age range if you don't have a parental account, but that is not even addressed in this article, and that is a question I have. So ultimately, this comes down to simplifying controls for the parents. So the parent doesn't have to respond to every single app request. They can set certain age ranges. So the parents and the parent side, they can come down here and say share age range with all apps or don't share age range with apps, in which case the apps would have to go back up and ask. So this one is done all through the Google Family Link app. So the parents have a choice to share their child's age range. If they choose to share, all Play apps that use the Play Age Signal API can receive age signals. This lets children jump straight into the age-appropriate content without parents having to manually configure settings inside these apps. And this also means that a lot of shady developers who have stolen your ID on the latest Discord, etc. breach and have put up a false ID and have verified who they are with Google are going to be putting a lot of adult content into child-labored stuff, and they're just going to keep on recycling the content. And they don't really care because who's the guilty party? It's Randall Stevens, Your Honor. He's the one with the ID. So that's the problem here. Where every step they try and complicate our world with all this digital nonsense. They just provide 10 more opportunities for the hackers to make it worse for everybody else. Oh man, it's going to be crazy. All right, so building on our broader safety tools. So this API builds on a strong foundation of established safety features and strict policies we have long enforced on Google Play. Today, we already mandate apps designed for families meet rigorous safety standards. Sure you do. And continuously review and scan applications to ensure they're safe for children. For developers, we also offer built-in tools like restrict minor access in the Play console to help them manage who can discover their apps. And for parents, Google Family Link remains a trusted central dashboard. So this is, again, if they're just expanding this only in the context of the family plan, that's fine. And if more people, particularly the morons making the laws in this country on both sides of the aisle, actually knew this stuff was in here, maybe we wouldn't have all these stupid laws requiring us to give our ID to some third party to prove who we are, to download the weather app out there in Texas. And Ken Paxton, What are you doing? Oh, boy. But anyway, the next big slippery slope here is that this is attestation. This is the big slope. This is an attestation. This is not a verification. The problem is, as parents become irresponsible and remain being irresponsible, remain irresponsible, and let their kids download horrible stuff, and then their kids go out and do stupid stuff because they watched an app they shouldn't have watched or done something they shouldn't have done that was within their control to do, and then they're just mad that their kid gets hurt, so they now turn around and have a court case against Google for allowing it, the app developer for building it, and everybody else but themselves for actually going in and setting up the family plans and setting up the appropriate ages. And then after these kids get hurt, you get some brainless politician up there, these applications need to have accountability. And then they'll pass a law requiring that attestation turn into verification. And now some third party has to verify it. And now we have done more databases of our IDs floating around on the internet, more stuff for hackers to steal. Now the hackers verify their ID utilizing your stolen ID, and and on and on and on and on it goes. So this is allegedly going to be helping keep people safer, but it really doesn't. This does not help keep anybody safer. This is yet another challenge, yet another problem. Now developers have this API, and now they're always worrying, well, if I don't specifically hear they're 18, I better treat them like they're 10. And then you're going to have a situation where they're going to be mad at this whole thing. And then Google might eventually roll this out to everybody. Every Google account now must have some form of attestation of your age. And then that's not going to be enough. And everyone must now verify. Don't worry, just use our amazing trusted partners. The guys that are tied with Palantir and leaked data. Wonderful. And we have a surveillance state has grown up, all because Google wants to deliver safer, age-appropriate experiences on Google Play. I have a better idea. We just need to pass some laws on digital parental neglect. Yes. You see, we didn't always have laws in this country that said your child can't be overworked, or, generally speaking, you could never beat your children. Generally speaking, you have to feed your children. But there are nuances in the laws. I know some people don't realize it, but in most states, it is illegal to leave a child under the age of 12 unattended. Did you know that? In most states, that is the case. Why do I know that? Well, I was a trained youth mentor, and we were very well trained. If you go to take the child home and there is nobody there and your child is under the age of 12, you must stay with them until the parents arrive. Okay, and that is actually the case in many states. We have passed laws to address some of the issues, and rather than destroying anonymity on the internet and all sorts of other issues on the internet, rather than doing all of that stuff, it's a whole lot better if we deal with the one specific problem of the neglectful parent who does not recognize the dangers in a digital device and does not monitor their children on the internet. If that child suffers harm, guess what? The parent is the one responsible for that child. We need parental digital neglect laws. Way better than punishing everybody else, walking down the slippery slope of age attestation, which will lead to age verification and the total loss of anonymity on the internet. That is where we need to go. So let me know your thoughts about all of these in the comments down below. And definitely do spread the word to everybody that, hey, good parental tools are already built into these things. We don't even need these APIs to make it better. We just need to be safer with our children on the internet. There you go, folks. Let me know your thoughts about all that in the comments down below. Once again, subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so. Leave us a like and a comment down below.